Hello, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and guess what? It is Wednesday. You know what that means? All 22 film breakdown day for the Indianapolis Colts, and today I got a great one. I've had a lot of requests over the last couple of weeks to break this guy down because there's questions about his game. Not just his game, but the guys in front of him. It's about the Colts rushing attack so far this season after Marlon Mack went down. They are bottom, if not close to the bottom of the league in nearly every rushing category. Why is that? Is it the offensive line not doing their job properly? Is Jonathan Taylor not doing well? Well, you know what? Let's break down this film. Now, as we all know, Marlon Mack went down week 1. And before I get to the stream, I just want a little bit of insight as to how Marlon Mack is still helping Jonathan Taylor adjust to the NFL and understand reads and stuff, even though he's not actually out there playing the football game, out there with him on the field. Marlon Mack last year absolutely blew up, looked great, but now Jonathan Taylor's not doing so well. What's going on? Hey, Jonathan, is Marlon Mack really giving you some help out there, or what's going on?
I mean, I think it just shows what kind of player he is. I mean, especially he knows that, hey, like we're really going to need his advice. We're going to need to lean on him for support because he was just so effective in this system as a running back. And us, as a running back group, we want to make sure that we uphold his end. And in order to do that, we need to pick his brain and say, hey, what are some things that went through your mind on game day or on this specific team? What is something that you noticed that allowed you to be effective with your skill set? Or do you see something in my skill set that will help me? Yeah, one of the biggest things that Marlon has definitely told me is he's like, never look back at a read that you just left. So let's say you see your hole that you're supposed to hit, you make a decision, but sometimes you just peek back at that initial hole that you wanted to hit and see, if there was something there. It's like, and once you make a decision, you live with it. Because if you hit it full speed, it's like then you'll be able to run through arm tackles. You'll be able to, get into the open field a little bit. So I think that's just one of the biggest pieces. And sometimes, I really just ask him questions about, how is he able to be so effective, and maybe there's certain runs or certain pass play concepts, and I'm asking him, hey, like what is going through your mind when you hear this, or on this scheme, what are you thinking? How are you able to be so effective? I mean, I saw you on this one run, and he's able to break it down of maybe, hey, that was just a game situation thing where we knew that this team did that, or if it was where your eyes, going through your progression and your reads. So he's been very, very helpful, and I'm sure he's been helpful to the other backs as well. I'm shooting them messages as well, but he always talks to us in the facility. And one of the biggest things is Coach Rathman. I mean, he always pulls up clips of Marlon and how he was effective at delivering blockers to their defender. And I think that's just the biggest thing is just watching a lot of tape on Marlon, just because he's been so good in the system, and trying to figure out how can I take bits and pieces of that and add it to my game.
So week 1, there was a lot of miscommunications with the offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts, which coincided with just frankly the Jacksonville Jaguars just blowing things up by doing things that the Colts did not expect and were not prepared for. This play absolutely exemplifies both of those things right here in one play. This is a play, it's a zone blocking scheme. The Colts use a lot of zone blocking schemes, but in zone you need good communication between your offensive linemen and your tight ends and stuff in order to make sure that the right guy gets blocked at the right time. So, for instance, Anthony Costanzo's job on this play is to come out here, cut back, and seal. And Quentin Nelson's job is to feed him directly into Mark Glowinski, who's going to come around Ryan Kelly and block, and then he's got to come out and get this linebacker and seal, right? So that when Taylor has the football, he can come up. He's got a monster hole right up the middle because Ryan Kelly's got this guy. Now, let's watch the play, see how it unfolds, and I'll show you why this play got blown up and Taylor only got a yard out of it. Now, as we saw, the first biggest problem is Anthony Costanzo, Jack Doyle. No communication here. This defensive end cuts inside of Jack Doyle. He's not able to get a hand on him. Jack Doyle is stands there, waiting for Anthony Costanzo to get his hand on him, to push him in towards Jack for a second. But look, Costanzo is completely avoiding him. He's trying to get around him to get to the second level to make that seal block against Miles. Doyle has no choice then at this point but to just let that defensive end go and get this cornerback as he comes in. But what happens? That leaves the defensive end free to just come in and blow this play up. Now, let's go back to the other side. As I said before, right here, these three guys are very integral. What happens is Ryan Kelly has to take this tackle and push him and just hold it, push him out just a little bit, get a little bit of a push so that Glowinski cuts around him and takes the feed from Quentin Nelson to this guy so that Quentin Nelson then can go around and get in him and he goes up the middle. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens. This guy here and this guy, these two D tackles, they blow this play up by cutting completely over so that our offensive lineman could not get good hands on him. Ryan Kelly just gets stood up by a stiff arm on this play. And Quentin Nelson gets beat off the snap. Right off the snap. Let's watch. See? Now he's waiting to feed him in. Now if he knew, Quentin Nelson should have realized Glowinski's going to be there. He should be already trying to let him go by and step past him. But he doesn't. He gets, he feeds, and then because of the impact, you watch him, he waits too long to come up on that linebacker to push him out of the way. And right here, look, Ryan Kelly. See, he steps around him. Ryan Kelly is supposed to get but that's a good stiff arm. That keeps Ryan Kelly from moving him. And because he can't move him, there's no space for him to get around, right? And all he can do is run right into his blockers. But that defensive end, had that defensive end been stopped early on, had this right here been better communication between these two guys, between Costanzo and Doyle, if Costanzo would have just chipped him into Doyle, just brought up his left arm and chipped him just a little bit into Doyle so that he didn't just go boom and just avoid him completely. Because I think Costanzo fully expected him to try to come up in the middle here between them or take an out route run, a speed rush. But that's not what happened. And instead, Costanzo completely avoids. Look, he even tries to get Slim to get through there. That blows this up. That is why this entire first game between the Colts and the Jags in the running game was not going right. Because there was just no communication among the blockers on their zone blocking schemes. And Jacksonville, the way they were playing, they loaded the box. There were times in this game where you were seeing 8, 9-man boxes. Not just 7 on a consistent basis, but 8 and 9-man boxes. And if Jonathan Taylor even got a yard or two, it was amazing that he was, like this play right here, it's amazing he didn't get tackled for a loss because this guy was just a free run, right? He should have, bam. But Taylor was able to use his power right here and get back to the line of scrimmage. That's exactly what happened in Jacksonville. But over the weeks, the Indianapolis Colts offensive line is slowly but surely beginning to get their act together and start blocking better. Let's go to the next game in week 2. Now, week 2, the offensive line did a much better job of doing their blocks, getting their communication down. They fixed this problem, okay? And in this game, Jonathan Taylor got a crap ton of carries and barely broke 100 yards, but he averaged less than 4 yards a carry. And there's a reason for this. Rookie running back, not the greatest when it comes to wide peripheral vision, okay? And he sees what he sees in front of him. And this is something that Marlon Mack has helped him over the course of the season thus far, is asking him what he's going to do, when he's going to do it. You've seen the clips earlier. This is something that he has gotten better at as the year went on. But let's watch this play. This is going to be a sweet play. It's just going to be a pitch. He's going to come out here, and he's got to look for a lane to go with, right? That's all it is. You got zone blocking, and he's going to look for a lane to go with. Let's watch the play. There's the pitch. He goes out. He looks. All right. Now, sometimes in the NFL, cutting back the way you came is a smart move because you got over pursuers. Now, let's watch how this actually rolls out here, because there was a lot of yards he could have got on this play that he didn't. He missed. Now, there's the pitch. He cuts out. You see the blockers coming out here. Now, at this point, from here over, the blockers are outmanned. You got a guy on him. You got a guy here. You got a guy here. This guy is completely not taken up. So as he's running, he's either got to, A, decide, run up, use one of these two blockers to kind of shield him and then cut back the other side. Like if he would run up right here so that the corner would come up and then break outside, but you can't really do that because he's got good leverage. So his best bet is to cut back inside. Watch. Now at this point, this is where he needs to make his decision. What's he going to do with this corner? Okay? What's he going to do with this corner? As you see, he's looking right over here. Now, if he looked just a little bit further, you see some offensive linemen coming up. Oh, my goodness. If he'd made his break right now this way, if he came up just a little bit, and before, right now, if he would cut back this way, rather than what he does is not smart. But if he would just cut back right now, just do a cutback, he would have blockers all over the place, and he could spring for a touchdown on this play. But he's got kind of narrow vision, and he sees what's in front of him. He doesn't see these guys over here getting ready to block down. And now you got a cornerback that's already bent over, ready to take you out at the legs. At this point, as soon as a running back sees those legs go down like that, you cut. You cut left, you cut right, you jump over him, you do something. You have to avoid him. You cannot wait even a split second. You need those legs to be doing something now. And he waits too long to make that cut. He gets wrapped up right at the legs. Can't go anywhere. Again, something that he's getting better at, as Marlon Mack is teaching him. Even though Marlon Mack is out for the season, he is so good at making people miss in the open field. Jonathan Taylor's just been getting all the information that he can out of him. And that is what held Jonathan Taylor back in week 2. You're still here? Awesome. Thanks for watching this stream. Please, if you have a moment of your time, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you're notified next time I go live. And if you got a few extra seconds, hit that description down there below the video and check out all the places that you can follow me, whether it be Sportscaster here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and there's a couple places where you can help donate to my channel. That way I can continue to bring all this content to you. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to the video. All right, now we're on to week 3, and they're playing the Jets. And you would think that the Colts should be able to run the football darn near at will against the Jets, right? But it's Jonathan Taylor. What I was mentioning earlier, Jonathan Taylor has a problem with tunnel vision. He wants to go right where the play is designed most of the time, and he doesn't use his peripheral vision to see where he can gain some extra yards. Now let's watch this play, and it's blatantly obvious, but let's watch the play. There it is. He's still up. Nope, now he's not. Really? Really, Taylor? Really? What's wrong with you? Come on, my guy. All right, so here's the ball. Ball snap. He hands the football off now. Right now, he sees Anthony Costanzo, Quentin Nelson. They're just pushing guys. But all he's got to look. If he goes this way, he's got room to run. Yes, there is a guy back here unaccounted for. So what? If you go this way and then cut behind, you got a chance to make a big play. Instead, he runs right in. Look at that. He lowers his shoulder even though, look, oh my goodness. Blam. He could have went this way and then either cut this way or this way, depending upon which side of the block this guy's on. But no, he sticks with it. He just lowers his head, doesn't look anywhere. Lowers his head and tries to power through, tries to squeeze through that little hole, even though there is open space right here to make yardage. He's still squeezing. See his head still down. He's still on his feet. You see his head bouncing back there, and it allows that safety to come up and make that tackle. Clean back. Look at it. What? This is the guy that makes the tackle. He's being blocked out right now. Blocked out. He comes off of it, comes around all this time to come back around, squeeze around, get into the legs, and then make the tackle on him. Really? Really, Jonathan Taylor? Keep your head up. Look to see where the open field is. And hit the open field. Get the yardage you can. And then lower your shoulder when it's needed. It wasn't needed at that point. That's all I'm saying about that. We're on to week 4, right? And this game is where you see the change in Jonathan Taylor's running. This is the game where you've seen Jonathan Taylor become more patient, look for holes, and hit them. I think this week, this preparation week, is where the talk with Marlon Mack starts to actually come through, because the Bears defense is good, okay? Very, very good. They got a lot of pass rush on this, but Jonathan Taylor begins to show a little bit of patience in the block to allow blocks to start to happen, and he looks for the open hole rather than just lowering his head. He gets 4 yards a carry on 17 carries in this game. That is something that you really should be excited to hear about, because it was week 4. Rookies take time to get used to the NFL and absorb the knowledge, get up to speed with the NFL, and understand how that offensive line is blocking in front of you. Let's watch this play. Let's watch this. Look at that. Look at that. Yes, this is only a 3-yard gain. Only a 3-yard gain. But it shows something for Jonathan Taylor. And I'm not sure how this works. At that point, I'm thinking that maybe I don't know if this was meant to do this. If Rivers thought he was going to come this way on this side of him, or if he's doing that for some other reason, I don't know. But he looks. Oh crap! You're on this side. All right, here you go, my guy. Now he gets that football. Look, his head's up. He's got both hands on the ball, and he's looking. He's not making the break right now. He's looking. He's overlooking. He's like, okay, so I could go this way or I could go this way. Going up the gut is not a good idea. Now, but as the play happens, he's still sitting there, and he bends down. He sees a little crease here that he could get some yardage. Now, could he have went this way and maybe gotten even more, especially if he broke out wide? Maybe. But he sees the crease here. Right in front of him. He knows he's got a linebacker back here that's going to probably come up and hit this hole or, run with him because, I'm sorry, Roquan Smith, very fast linebacker, okay? So he sees the crease here thinking, you know what? There's bodies to help block. This is actually a smart move. You would think running out this way would be the smart move, maybe some bigger yardage. But like I said, Roquan's got some speed. So he uses the bodies in front of him and cuts right behind the big bodies and uses them. That's actually a very, very smart move by him to gain 3 yards on this play. Beautiful, beautiful play. But that point right here, this whole situation from the point where he's up, looking ahead, watching the blocks break out in front of him, and then right there, this right here shows all kind of advancement, right? In what's going on inside his helmet right there, right up there in his cranium. He's watching and waiting, being patient. It's nice to see that it's starting to happen, and it's happening in week 4. And this is the turnaround game for him. This is that game because the next 2 games he's doing a lot better. A lot better. But he's processing, and then he goes. Good job by Jonathan Taylor on this play. 3-yard gain, yes. Smart move, absolutely. Here we are, week 5 against the Browns. Indianapolis loses this game, but again, Jonathan Taylor, plenty of carries, 5 yards a carry. Why is that? Because again, he is showing patience at the point of attack. He's watching the blocks. He's deciding where he needs to go. And if the hole where the play is supposed to be designed to go to is closing or is blocked, he makes decisions to go where it's open. Again, he's learning. Now, this is a mixed bag of nuts on this play right here because it also shows what he still needs to work on later on currently, and that is open field decisions and open field moves to make big yardage. Let's watch this play and see. All right. There he goes. He sees it. Okay, now he's back in. All right. You know what? He could have been tackled at the line of scrimmage because this defensive tackle right here is overpowering Braden Smith and gets into the lane where he is supposed to go, where Jonathan Taylor is supposed to go. He catches this football, and right now he is supposed to go right up through here. And at this current point in time, it looks like it's going to be a big run. But watch Braden Smith lose his leverage. He knows if he continues going this way, this D tackle is going to tackle him. That is amazing that he was able to see that. And then that side cut One of the best side cuts he's done all game. Now, right here is where he's got to make his decision. Do you go? This play is designed to go over here to the left. And his problem right now is he continues to go to the left. Whereas, if he just sprinted right on the outside of Trey Burton right here, he's got 4.3 speed. He could probably outrun this corner and then possibly get past the safety as well for even bigger yardage. But he goes back to the direction of where this play goes and runs right into the linebacker. Right into the linebacker. It started off so well. He did a great job making that play against that defensive tackle to gain 7 yards, to get past the line of scrimmage, right? See, hey, my lane is getting ready to be closed off because that tackle is going to hit me right there at the hole. Gets around him. But man, why don't you make a better decision right here in the open field rather than go back into the waiting arms of the defense? You had all that space right here. Trey Burton actually had his man really, really well. I doubt that the defender could have got around him. I think Taylor, if he'd have just planted the other foot, because he still likes going in the direction of where the play goes, even if that play is busted. It was busted from the get-go. At that point, you got to have your head on a swivel and go where there's open field. And there was open field right here had he just hit it. I think he'll learn that. I think he'll get it. He just needs a little bit more time. All right, now we're up to the last game the Indianapolis Colts played and before the bye week of Week 7, and it's against the Cincinnati Bengals. This game, Jonathan Taylor only had 12 carries because, well, why did he only have 12 carries? Well, the Colts fell behind 21-0 basically in the first quarter of this game. Phillip Rivers really had to air it out early on in order to get the Colts back into this game, which really limited the number of snaps that the Colts could use in order to run the football. Now, in the second half, however, the Colts were able to start running the football a little bit more, and Taylor started to get a little bit more carries. This play here specifically shows how much better Taylor is at making decisions on the field than what he was Week 1, Week 2, and Week 3. I think he makes the smart move here because he is a north-south runner. His speed is north and south. His power is north and south. Now, this play here, you're going to see Quentin Nelson do his patented pull, and Taylor is supposed to follow him along the outside edge. Let's watch the play and see how it comes down. What? He didn't follow him, did he? I think he makes a smart move here, okay? I think he makes the big-time smart move. Because as you watch this. This is actually very, very, very smart in my opinion. Now, there goes Quentin Nelson. Taylor gets the football. Now, at this point, he sees 1, 2, 3, 4 hats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hats. But 2 guys are on 1. So basically over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 3. And he's got to go to the outside edge. And this linebacker is looking at him. If he continues this way, this linebacker actually has space on him. He might be able to get him at the line of scrimmage. Even with Nelson coming out here, and I mean, he's going to cremate number 23. I'm sorry, 23. But he looks over here and he sees 2 hats to 3 hats. And if he makes this cut and just runs straight, he's going to be able to build up speed, which is also going to build up his power, and he's going to get more yardage, most likely coming this way. So he makes that decision to go against the grain of where the play is designed. This is completely opposite of what we've seen in the last clip. he actually goes against the grain because way the blocking pans out here goes with what his skill set is. And he takes that and he just sprints right in through here, uses his power and just gains extra yardage with his speed and gains that. That is a very good move by Taylor. I mean, great move. See, if he'd have continued this way, that linebacker would have been over here. He could have probably slipped right between these two blocks or outside Nelson's block and probably got him at the line of scrimmage. Instead, he's using what his God-gifted talents are, and that's his speed and power. Now, he didn't break the tackle, but he carried them boys 2 or 3 yards before he finally fell down right there at the 26-yard line. He gained 7 yards on that play, on a play that was supposed to go to the right, and he went against the grain and went to the left because he saw it. Man, I'm telling you, this guy right here, this Jonathan Taylor fella, Jonathan Taylor is going to get better as the year goes on. As the offensive line understands how he's going to be making his breaks and the way he wants, and as you're seeing him actually be a little bit patient, look for where the blocks are, look for where the holes are. The only thing that I think Taylor needs to work on is his open field moves. I have yet to see him really use a stiff arm, especially against cornerbacks. I have yet to see him make an open field move against defensive backs to make them miss, rather than think, well, I'm a bigger guy, I could just power over him, run over him for a couple yards. This is the NFL, and these defensive backs know how to tackle. You need to be able to make an open field move to make them miss rather than just take them head on, okay? And I think Taylor will begin to learn that as this NFL 2020 season continues. I think he'll be able to learn that. I think Marlon Mack, as we've seen in the videos earlier, that he will get him to that point. So, as you can see, the early loss of Marlon Mack in week 1, coupled with poor execution by the offensive line and the fact that Jonathan Taylor was still a rookie and very fresh with the NFL, not up to the NFL speed, not understanding what his best traits work with in the NFL, really hampered the Colts' run game through the first 3 weeks of the season. But over the past 3 games, Jonathan Taylor has looked much better with the help of Marlon Mack sitting there talking with him and explaining to him what he sees in Taylor, how he works with the offensive line, and Taylor just getting experience, just flat out, is helping him long term. He still needs to learn a little bit about open field decisions on turning a good play into an outstanding play, right? Those big spark plays that you see occasionally, that you would see from Marlon Mack in the last couple seasons. We haven't really seen that from Jonathan Taylor. We've seen it once, and that was against the Bears when he beat Roquan Smith off the edge. You probably have seen where Phillip Rivers was talking smack to Roquan Smith about that. He beat you to the edge. Remember? But just give him time, because over the last 3 weeks, he's averaging about 4.8 yards a carry. He's just not getting enough carries to make up for those monstrous carries that he carried the first 3 weeks and had a low yards per carry average. Last week, he probably could have had a lot more yards, except against the Bengals, they fell behind. 3 touchdowns early in the game. They had to go away from the running game for a while in order to allow Rivers and that passing attack to close that gap. But this week against the Lions, I'm very curious to see how well this offensive line and Jonathan Taylor runs the ball. And, man, I would love to see Nyheim Hines coupled with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, because that would make things very, very interesting for Phillip Rivers. It would be an option. Rivers is so good at seeing the field. He could hand it up the gut with Jonathan Taylor for what he does, north and south, very, very well. Or if he thinks he's got the advantage over on the edge, he could fake that to Taylor and then pitch it to Hines. And that fake to Taylor would make those outside defenders close in. And then the pitch to Hines would allow him, with his speed and agility, to make moves on the outside and also increase the running game and the average per carry. If you're watching this, thank you so much. Obviously, every Wednesday I have these all 22 film room breakdowns here on Sportscaster. And if you're watching on Sportscaster and you are Seahawks fan 19, Mary Remembers 85, Rocket Blast Joe, and Simon Russell, thank you so much for watching this. Rocket Blast Joe, thank you for the follow. That is much, much appreciated. But if you're not called, I mean, my goodness, I only called 4 guys out. There's 46 people watching live right now on Sportscaster, and yet that means 42 of you don't have profiles. Please do yourself a major favor. Make a profile. It doesn't take 15 seconds just to click up there and link it to your Twitter, Facebook, or email. It's very, very quick. Then you can give me a like on these videos. You can give me a follow so you're notified next time I go live. And you can follow the other guys on Sportscaster News along with myself in Ray Rout, Joe Nubo, Adam Armbrecht, and Keith McPherson, along with many, many others. So until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, all 22 breakdown of Jonathan Taylor, the development of. And until next time, as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.